Tenet is the newest Christopher Nolan film who also brought us Inception. And like Inception, Tenet is a very simple concept at its core, surrounded by bombastic spectacle. I've been looking forward to Tenet for, I don't know, like a year now. I love it when directors and writers try to give something different, try to be a little experimental, as long as they're not, pretentious weird about it, like what they did with Mother. And that is absolutely what Nolan is going for with Tenet, and for the most part, I thought he succeeded. However, Tenet is not as smart as it thinks it is. Consider Inception. You've got a singular concept, putting dreams inside dreams, taken to the nth degree and surrounded with a lot of spectacle. That's basically what they did with Tenet, but with this weird time travel element called inversion. You don't need like an advanced physics degree to understand what's going on. The movie actually lays it out pretty simply. It's really a play on cause and effect. You have a cause and an effect. Inversion is basically that, but in reverse. And while I stand by it's not as smart as it likes to think that it is, the movie is still very clever. It takes that concept and uses it and explores it in very smart ways. I don't want to spoil it because a lot of the fun of the movie is revealing and discovering how they're playing with the time travel elements, but you will enjoy it. And while you don't need an advanced physics degree to follow what's going on, you do need to pay attention. This isn't the kind of movie you put on the background to listen to casually, because if you do that and you miss a scene, you're going to be playing catch up for the rest of the movie, especially in the first act. A lot of that, again, especially in the first act, is because of the dialogue. Dialogue is cut down to the bare bones necessity in order to get everything established as quickly as possible. And that's not to say that the dialogue is shoved out there in this rushed staccato right onto your plate so fast that you can barely absorb it. I mean, there are some scenes where that's the case, but that could have just been an audio problem. No, the movie's actually very clever in how it approaches this. There's one scene where they're setting things up for a plan, and you've got one character who is talking to the protagonist who's talking to his buddy, and the buddy who's exploring this operation area and talking to a fourth character. And the movie seamlessly goes from scene to scene, back and forth, like this. So you've got one character talking to another character, talking to another character, talking to another character. It is actually very impressive. But again, if you miss a single scene, you will be playing catch up. And that does have a bit of an impact on the characters. Part of that is because the protagonist, John Washington, is called the protagonist. I'm not being cheeky, he doesn't actually have his own name. Character was not delivered in the conventional sense. There were no scenes where the protagonist got to sit down with his buddy and they hashed out, oh, well, when I was a wee boy, my father told me that. You get no scenes like that. Instead, his character had to be fleshed out through interactions with other characters, through word choice, and through his choices and actions. And he still gets a decently rounded out character. Not the most fleshed out it could be, but still enough to carry the movie. And Washington himself is a very engaging actor. All of the scenes he was in were believable, they were fun. I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing more movies with him. And what surprised me was Robert Pattinson as an action star. I saw him as becoming more of a drama actor instead of like an action star, but after seeing this movie, I want to see him in more action movies. I am hyped for the Batman. Then there's the matter of the action scenes. Now, the action was not really about the spectacle. I mean, the climax was, but it's the climax, so it's expected. Now, the action scenes, the reason I appreciate them is because they're not spectacle over substance. They're actually more about the application of inversion and getting the plan done, more than just having as many explosions on screen as possible. And the goals of the fight scenes are never about take out all the bad guys, kill the enemy soldiers. They're about finish the plan, accomplish the mission. And that's a direction most fight scenes don't really go. It's just like, hey, here's a bunch of guys with guns, kill each other now. There is a larger plot at the core of the story, but I don't really want to get into that because it risks a little spoilery. Most of it's revealed later, and a lot of the fun of the movie is just watching everything unfold. Special effects are, as expected, pretty good. Nolan is definitely playing around with the perception of time as he's done with Inception and Dunkirk, and I think he's getting pretty good at it. Because, I mean, the movie's not perfect. There are a few things I'm sure I can nitpick, but by and large, for the most part, there are very few gaping holes where you've got to point out, oh, but they can't do that because they were off in Siberia then. So I say if you get a chance, definitely check this movie out. It's not a conventional action movie. It definitely has Nolan's flair, but I think that's really growing on me. Inversion is basically that. Oh, shit.